Hi everyone, it's Ruiz here, and yesterday I made a post asking anyone that was interested to feel free to ask me questions or give me comments about things they might be concerned or curious or worried about even. And a lot of you guys actually reached out and asked me questions, and I was very pleasantly surprised because I thought I was only going to get like 5 or like maybe 6 questions overall, but I actually ended up getting somewhere near 20. And so I was really glad to see that people actually kind of cared, and so I made this video here, and I'm gonna be pulling each of the questions. I printed them out and cut them up and put them in this little hat, and so I'm gonna be drawing from this hat to make it a little fun and random, and I will be giving you my most candid response I can give you. I haven't really read most of these more than once, just to verify that you weren't saying anything nasty or like inappropriate that could get me in trouble. And so here I am drawing questions for my hat. So let's get started. I'm gonna mix these up right now. Okay. Hey, just generally wondering, what exactly is CAB and how much influence do you think they approximately hold? Okay, so basically, CAB is known as the Class Activities Board. And what they do is they're a committee that is part of SGA, which is the Student Government Organization. I forgot what the A stands for. Basically student government, that's what's important. And CAB concerns itself primarily with planning and fostering social events for the class of 2023. And so as far as knowing how much influence they have, CAB itself is just a committee of SGA. So everyone in CAB is just specialized in planning social events, and they don't really interact with SGA much besides that, except on certain occasions, as far as I'm aware, because again, I've never been in CAB, as just NYU specifically, their leadership, social planning. But as president, I would have the ability to talk to other branches. I have to go to meetings with other presidents and, keep up and make sure that everything is running smoothly throughout all of SGA as well as CAB. And so, yeah, I hope that answered your question. This one kind of slipped out, so I'm just gonna pull this one next. Do you think a hot dog is a sandwich? No, a hot dog isn't a sandwich. And I'll tell you why. Because in my eyes, with the exception of Subway sandwiches, which sometimes they are one piece of bread, a sandwich consists of 2 pieces of bread with something in the middle to be eaten. And so while a hot dog does have a piece of bread with something in the middle, it's only 1 piece. And so I would actually categorize a hot dog as a kind of taco. I'm going to say that hot dogs aren't sandwiches because they are tacos. Hope that answered your question. 2 food questions in a row. Is cereal a soup? Well, by the same logic that a hot dog is a taco, cereal is a soup. Because if we look at the definition of soup, it is some sort of liquid with, it could have chunks of something in it to give it flavor, it could not. And so if you look at cereal, assuming you do have milk, without milk, cereal is not soup. With milk, cereal, technically speaking, is soup because it's adding flavor to the milk, and well, I guess cereal is soup. Are rings or bracelets better? Why? Okay, so I'm gonna say that bracelets are better than rings because they're larger and they're easier to remove, and I've always had a little bit of a phobia of getting a ring stuck on my finger because that would be traumatizing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the pictures of people that have to get them like surgically removed, but it's disgusting. And so if you consider watches to be bracelets, which they kind of are, they're just timekeeping bracelets. I like watches. I don't wear them very often, but I think they're pretty cool. And so I'm gonna say that under the logic that watches are bracelets and bracelets can be taken off easier, I'm gonna say that bracelets are just big rings and they're better than them. Next question. How long have you had Bailey? I actually recorded a small bit. I had to redo this video because it decided to cut out like halfway through, and so I actually have a clip of me picking up my son. I took him to bed now, but Bailey's my dog. I called him my son because he's basically my son. And so I'm probably just going to insert that at some point here, maybe a little bit of awkward sitting behind while I get the transition in. So I'm just going to sit here for a minute. Come here. This is my dog, who I love very much. And he is about 8 years old now. He's almost 9. Oh, hi. He was born on December 8th, 2012, and so he is a little older, but he's still a puppy in my heart. And so I've had him 8 years, and he is the love of my life, and I'm gonna miss him very much. Right, babe? I'm gonna put you down because I can tell you're really frustrated with me. Here you go. He was sleeping. I actually woke him up to try to convince you guys to vote for me. Next question. Welcome back. You just took a trip through time. Now we're back answering questions that I haven't answered yet. What does being president mean to you, and why are you running? So being president to me is something that attracted me more than any other position in CAB, simply because the president has more ability to make effective changes and interact with the student body a little bit more and have the ability to do more. What I mean by that is, like I was saying earlier, the president of CAB does have to go to meetings with other heads of boards, and overall they have to communicate with SGA more. So that means that I would have the ability not only to plan social events, but to communicate with other parts of SGA to make sure that our class as a whole is running very smoothly. And so I like that a lot because, again, what does being president mean? It means that I can represent you guys better. And ultimately, I want to be someone that can make effective changes and implement things that our class finds useful and will help everything run along smoothly, especially in such a hectic year. A lot of people that go to NYU aren't from New York. And so it's a very big city and it's very busy. And the easier I can make it, the better, because I know I'm freaking out a little. It's going to be a big change for me. And so it's really a learning process. So I want to help everyone as much as I can. Hope that answered your question. Crest or Colgate, and why? I'm going to have to go for Crest, just because I don't use either of their toothpaste. I use this weird kind of hydro something. It's like a teeth whitening agent. But I use Crest's teeth whitening strips. So solely for that reason, I have to go with Crest. Although, when I did use toothpaste from one of them, I always went with Colgate in the past. So, unfortunately, for now, I am a Crest man. Let's see. Which event that was done last year are you most considering doing again this year? Okay, so this is one of the questions I kind of had to cheat on, because I kind of made a rule for myself that I wasn't going to really think about it much, so that I could give you guys candid and honest answers. But this one, I kind of had to look up because I wasn't in CAB last year, just because I'm a rising freshman like you guys. So I went around asking some sophomores of NYU what CAB did and what events they found memorable. And I ultimately found out that they had a few events that were notable, not a lot, but one of the really notable events is what they called the snowball. So basically, we're going to have a ball during Welcome Week, and it's going to be, can't say I remember the theme, but basically we're just going to have another ball with that's similar to our Welcome Week one, but in the winter. And so that's why they called it the snowball. I thought it was very clever. I want to have a different theme just because, I don't just want to steal an idea from someone. I'd rather put my own little ideas into it and make it its own unique thing. But yeah, I would love to have another ball in the winter, just because I know a lot of people enjoyed the dances that we had as high schoolers, and that's something that a lot of people had fun with. And so I really think that an idea that I would like to bring back from last year are the dances that we would host. Next question are, what are your big initiatives to help our freshman year run smoothly? So basically what my idea is, as opposed to last year's from what I'm gathered, is that I want to make events as frequent as possible. So I want to have events, if possible. Again, I've never worked with NYU as far as planning events, so I don't know what budget is like, what I can do. But if possible, I want to have an event at least every month. Hopefully speaking, every week or every 2 weeks. Just because I feel like the more events that a class has, the more events that a class has, the more opportunities every student has to meet others and make friends and socialize and just have something to look forward to in general. So my big addition to the class of 2023 as far as social events would go would be to add a lot of events, even if they're not as big. I mean, obviously with CAP I want to have really big events like the ball, really cool things that we can do that are just going to make the year more memorable. But I also want to emphasize smaller, more frequent events, just because it can be hard to make friends in such a large place. And even if it isn't hard, even if everyone's got their little social group, it's always nice to, if nothing else, have something that you can go to every 2 weeks. It's like, these 2 weeks have sucked, my classes have been hard, I've been stressed out. Well, at least I have this, this picnic that we're going to in 2 weeks with my class. Maybe I'll meet some people that are just as stressed as I am. And you guys get the idea. It's something smaller, but I feel like it's something that can also make a big impact. So yeah, hope you guys liked that answer. When does voting take place and how do we vote? So that's a good question. Voting will take place the 25th. Every NYU student's gonna get an email, and it's just gonna be like, oh, blah, 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 elections have begun, you've seen all these people annoying you on your Facebook feed, and now it's time to pick which one annoyed you the least. So yeah, we will all get an email, and it's gonna show every candidate's ballot, and there's a lot of wonderful candidates. So I absolutely encourage you to vote. It starts on the 25th when we move in, and it ends on the 31st at 11:59. So you have all day on the 31st, but of course most people are gonna end up voting on the 25th. So just, honestly, I would just encourage people to research their candidates. Honestly, if you just take a quick stroll through the Facebook posts, everyone and their dog has been posting a Facebook ad for themselves. And so just find someone that you like and vote for them, because I'm sure if you like them, they're probably showing you that they care, and I'm sure they would be really happy to get elected in office. And so yeah, voting will take place 25th, 31st. You're gonna get an email, vote. What do you plan to do for the LGBT community? So this is another one that I kind of had to cheat for, not for the same reasons, but just because I feel like I can't do this question justice without having thought about it more. Because while I have faced certain hardships in my life, I understand that I come from a place of privilege because I'm a straight, cisgendered male, and so a lot of struggles with bigotry and a lot of hatred that people can have for the LGBT community, I've never suffered through things like that. And so I had to ask around and talk to a few of my friends in the LGBT community about what they felt would ultimately be best. And the overarching response most people had was that they wanted to just feel comfortable. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, people aren't as accepting of the LGBT community, and it's very unfortunate. But luckily, we're in New York City, which is a more open place. Of course, unfortunately, there are always people that will just have problems. But my main focus is not going to be to single out the LGBT community. It's going to be to implement them into just enforce the fact that they're as much of a normal student as anybody else. Because yes, we're different, and that's great, and that's what makes us so unique, and it adds culture to our class. But I think it's better to think about us as us. It's not this group and that group. It's the LGBT communities is a part of the student body, and we're all the student body. So I'm going to try to enforce the best that I can acceptance and respect for every LGBT member. And of course, during these events, I want it to be a safe space for every group of people. I don't want anyone to feel like they don't have somewhere to be. So I guess that is another main focus of my social events. I want it to be a safe place. And so while we can have fun and we can mess around, no one should ever feel like afraid. No one should ever be afraid of, or feel unsafe at these social gatherings. So I hope that answered your question. What do you value most about this position and the people you're representing? So first, I'll say the people I'm representing. I'm going to start with that. So I am relatively new to my field that I'm going to be majoring in. I'm an acting major at the Lee Strasberg studio at Tisch. And I started acting about 3 years ago. But ever since I started acting, it's always been my dream to go to NYU. And so I am super passionate about living in New York and just studying what I love. And I'm extremely grateful that I have the opportunity to do so. And I know a lot of people feel the same way. A lot of people, they were super glad they got in. And it's been more competitive than ever this year. And so I know everyone has a sense of pride, or I hope everyone has a sense of pride that they're attending such a good school. And so I have a lot of love for people that are just as passionate as I am, going through the same struggles that I will be going through. I mean, adapting to a huge city, it's kind of hard for some people. I feel like it might be easier for some. Like I've lived near Atlanta my entire life. And so I'm kind of used to the city. Of course, New York is a whole other beast. But ultimately, just knowing that there are so many different people that are passionate about what they're doing and they're doing their best and they want to live in such a big city and, just make friends and have the exact same struggles that I have, that's what moves me. Like, we're all very different, and that's awesome and wonderful, and I'm excited to meet, all these different people with different beliefs and ideologies, but at the same time, we're all very similar. We're all going through very similar experiences, and the easier I can make that, the better. And that's exactly why I want to be president, because I know it sounds corny and every single person says this, but I genuinely care, and I genuinely want to make a good impact on our student body. And I've always wanted to be in leadership positions to do exactly that, because I know what it's been like to be, feel left out, or to be, discriminated against in certain ways, and just, I'm not trying to make a dramatic thing, but I want everyone to feel like they have a place here. And so, yeah, that's exactly what moves me to want to be a leader of some sort. And yeah, I feel like I'm good at it. So I hope that answers your question about that. Do you put your socks on after your shoes or before? I actually prefer to sandwich it. So, first I put my socks on. No. Yeah, first I put my socks on. Then I put my shoes on. And then I put socks over my shoes. It's like a sandwich, and it's like protecting you from all sorts of dangers that you might face traveling through the treacherous boroughs of New York City. No, I put my socks on first, like a human being. Next question: sock shoe, or sock shoe shoe? Did I really just get 2 sock questions in a row? Okay. So I am strictly under the belief that you should put both of your socks on before you put your shoes on. And I just want all of you to know, if you ever spot anybody putting on their socks or putting on one sock and then putting their shoe over that sock before going to the next sock, just don't trust them. I mean, that's inhuman. That's scary to me. I would be terrified. Yeah, that's my answer to that. Next question here. How many straws have you used in the past year? If you answered any number other than 0, why do you hate turtles? Funny story about that. I actually used to just haphazardly consume plastic before a few of my environmentally conscious friends let me know that I was killing the ocean. And so I've made an effort as of the recent, I think it's been 3 months, to just cut most, if not all, plastic use in my personal life. And so, for example, it started small, like in Chick-fil-A or Moe's or just any restaurant that I'm going to. I just wouldn't ask for a lid or a straw. And honestly, it feels good because I find that it's not that different to just drink straight from the cup. And I haven't died yet from sipping. So, I mean, it's easy for me, and honestly, every little step that you take helps somewhat. And so it feels good to know that I'm not adding to a problem that is serious right now in our time. And yeah, unfortunately, the first 3 months of this year have been big numbers of straws. I can't even count how many times because I haven't thought about it. But hopefully next year it'll be at 0. Perfect. And yeah, I'm just as conscious as I try to be as conscious as I can be. What do you plan to do to connect the class of 2023? So, I'm not trying to repeat myself here, but basically the entire job of president of CAB specifically is to connect the class. It's through social events, yes, through everything, it's to connect the class. So I ultimately hope that the events that I'm planning and maintaining and organizing are going to keep people engaged with their class, as well as making myself available. Before I even started campaigning, I made myself an email. It'll probably be down in the description along with my Instagram and Snapchat, because ultimately I want to make myself very available so that people feel like they have someone to talk to if they ever have problems. So if I am elected as president and someone has a problem, I like to know that I have the ability to easily try to create a solution instead of, just sitting there and being like, oh, I wish there was something I can do. And so let me read the question because I started talking so much that I forgot it. Right. So connection is really my entire platform from my slogan, which is helping us fit in campus. I just want everyone to know that they're going to have a place at NYU. And so that's honestly the most important part of my platform. That's my entire motto and belief system there. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. And I think, two more, including this one. What drew you to this position? And so I'm going to keep this one a little bit shorter just because I've kind of answered that over the past few questions. So yeah, ultimately I feel like I have good leadership abilities. I've held a lot of positions, both in the drama board as far as theater was concerned, and the chorus leadership program, and just parts of SGA that I've been in before. I feel like they've given me a lot of experience in leading and working with others. And so I feel like not only do I have the heart to do it, because of course I care deeply about every person that's going to be in our upcoming class, I feel like I have a good amount of experience in leading as opposed to numbers. I would never be the VP of finance. I'm not a genius in math, and honestly it's very tedious work for me, but I am good at organizing things and maintaining projects. I've even had jobs as project manager of things. So yeah, I feel like I genuinely could make a change, and the ability to have positive impacts on people will motivate me to be the best that I can be for you guys. And so that's honestly what drew me to that position. And last but certainly not least, what is your end goal with the class of 2023? That's the perfect way to end the video. So my end goal, honestly, is to make this year one of the most memorable years in all of NYU history. And I know that's super ambitious, and it's like, wow, this place has been around almost as long as America's been around. That was a weird noise that was produced. But yeah, I honestly want to make this year, even if it isn't on some groundbreaking year in NYU history, I want it to be a groundbreaking year in everyone's life. And so if everyone in our class feels like this was a year that could have been much harder, but it was made just a little bit easier, I'll consider my job done. Of course, I'm going to be aiming to just have blowout events that are going to be super fun, as well as little events that are going to be very frequent, and I'm going to do my absolute best to do that. But if nothing else, I want everyone to feel like I made their life a little bit easier, and just with that, I feel like I will have done my job. So that's it for every question. Again, I thank you guys a lot. I was really touched to see that people actually cared enough to go out and ask questions, and so I hope that I've answered a lot of your questions, made you feel a little bit more secure, and I really hope that even more than that I've secured a vote with you guys, because I genuinely have a lot of good ideas and a lot of passion for connecting our class. So if you have any questions or concerns, again, I have my email, which I might just edit it on the top, and I'm going to edit my Instagram down below, maybe my Snapchat right here. No, forget it, there's no Snapchat. I'm going to put it down in the description. How about that? So yeah, again, thank you guys so much for tuning into the video, and I hope you guys have a great next few days until I get to meet you in person during Welcome Week.